Have you ever felt like life was pressing down on you harder than usual? Like no matter how much you pray, no matter how much you give, no matter how long you wait, the doors just don't seem to open. Maybe you've been asking God, where are you? Have you forgotten me? But what if I told you that those moments, those seasons that feel the heaviest, the hardest, the loneliest, are not the signs that God has left you. They're the signs that He's closer than ever before. Because right before God blesses you, life shakes, the ground moves, people leave. And everything familiar starts to change. It's not punishment, it's positioning. He's rearranging the pieces, moving you out of places that can't hold what He's about to pour into your life. And if you can hold on, if you can stay faithful through the pressure, you're about to witness a blessing that makes every tear make sense. It always happens quietly at first. Before the breakthrough, before the blessing, there's a divine tension, a pulling between what was and what's coming. You'll feel it in your spirit before you ever see it with your eyes. You'll wake up one morning with this unexplainable mix of exhaustion and excitement. Something in you knows something's coming. You can't describe it. You can't prove it. But deep in your soul, you know change is near. And that's one of the first signs, that inner stirring, that holy discomfort. Because when God is about to bless you, He disturbs your comfort zone. He won't let you stay in what's small when He's called you to something greater. Think about the story of Joseph. One moment he's dreaming in his father's house. The next he's betrayed, sold, imprisoned. Everything looked like loss. But heaven called it setup, because the pit was not his punishment, it was his passage. His prison wasn't his end, it was his preparation. And if you're in that stage right now, if life feels unfair, if you're losing people, opportunities, stability, don't panic. It could mean you're being positioned for something you prayed for. Sometimes God doesn't answer your prayers by adding things. He answers by removing what no longer fits the next season of your destiny. You'll start to feel like you're walking alone. People you thought would be there forever begin to drift away. Not because they're bad, but because they can't breathe in the altitude God is taking you to. When God elevates you, He isolates you. He has to, because too many voices can drown out His whisper. And in the quiet, you'll start to hear Him clearly again. You'll start to realize He was never silent. You were just surrounded by too much noise. So if you've been feeling alone lately, if you've been wondering why it feels like no one understands what you're going through, take heart. That loneliness isn't empty. It's sacred. You're not being forgotten. You're being refined. You'll also begin to notice something strange. Things that used to satisfy you no longer do. The same routines, the same conversations, the same circles suddenly feel too small. It's not boredom, it's birthing pain. Your spirit is expanding. Your vision is growing. And what used to fit can't anymore. That's God stretching your capacity for blessing. Because you can't receive new wine in old wineskins. And maybe deep down, you've been resisting it. You've been trying to cling to what's familiar because it's safe. But faith isn't safe. Faith is surrender. Faith is saying, God, even if I don't understand it, I trust that you're working behind the scenes. Then comes the testing. Because before every elevation, there's examination. God won't test you to see you fail. He tests you to reveal your faith. When doors close, will you still praise Him? When the money's tight, will you still trust Him? When the timeline breaks, will you still believe He's on time? Because blessings don't fall on doubt. They fall on faith. And every delay, every disappointment, every detour is shaping the character you'll need to hold the blessing when it arrives. Sometimes we want the promise, but we're not ready for the weight of it. And God, in His mercy, waits. He waits until you've learned to find peace in the waiting. He waits until your faith is no longer based on what you see, but on who He is. Then, something beautiful happens. You start noticing divine alignment, things falling into place that you didn't even plan. The right people cross your path. Doors open with ease. Opportunities you never imagined begin to appear. And you'll realize it wasn't luck, it was timing. Divine timing. God was never late. He was simply aligning everything so that when your blessing came, it wouldn't crush you. It would carry you. You see, the delay was never denial. It was design. Because some blessings come suddenly, but the ones that last are built slowly, with purpose, with patience, with faith. And through it all, you'll feel something in your spirit shift. Peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from everything being perfect, but the kind that comes when you finally stop fighting the process. You start to realize you don't need to chase what's already yours. You stop begging and start believing. You stop worrying and start worshiping. That's when heaven knows you're ready, because you're no longer praying from fear. You're praying from faith. You're not saying, God, when will you bless me? You're saying, God, thank you. I know you already have. And that gratitude, that confidence becomes the vibration that attracts what's been waiting for you. But here's the most beautiful part. Right before the blessing breaks through, things often look the worst. It's like the night before sunrise, the darkest part just before dawn. Don't give up then. Don't lose heart when it looks hopeless. Because that's when heaven is closest. That's when angels are moving on your behalf. If you could see what God is orchestrating behind the scenes, you'd never doubt him again. Every setback, every heartbreak, every closed door, it's part of the architecture of your breakthrough. You're not losing, you're being led. You're not breaking down, you're breaking through. And if you listen closely in those final moments, before it all shifts, you'll hear the faint hum of heaven preparing your promotion. People will start to treat you differently, some with favor, some with distance. You'll feel both excitement and resistance at the same time. That's spiritual warfare meeting divine preparation. It means you're getting close. Because the enemy doesn't fight what's not a threat. The pressure intensifies right before your promise arrives. So if everything feels heavy, chaotic, confusing, remember, it's confirmation. God's about to turn it. When you're walking through this kind of season, pray differently. Don't just ask for blessing. Ask for awareness. Ask God to open your eyes to what he's doing so you don't sabotage it with fear. Ask him for wisdom, for patience, for discernment. Because blessings aren't always wrapped in comfort. Sometimes they come disguised as challenges, detours, or endings. But every ending in God's story is really just the beginning of something bigger. So breathe. Keep your faith steady. And trust that the shaking means something's shifting in your favor. And as you prepare for what's coming, remember this. God doesn't bless you for you to just collect blessings. He blesses you to become a blessing. When your season of overflow comes, don't forget the prayers that built it. Don't forget the nights you cried, the times you almost quit, the moments you had nothing but faith. Because that's what made the blessing real. It grew out of your perseverance. Use that abundance, whether it's financial, spiritual, emotional, to lift others, to give hope, to show what grace looks like in motion. Because true blessings don't stop with you. They flow through you. You might be listening to this right now thinking, that sounds beautiful, but my life is still a mess. I'm still waiting. I'm still struggling. And I hear you. But here's what I need you to understand. Blessings don't always start with fireworks. Sometimes they start in the quiet moments where you choose faith over fear. One more time. Every time you decide to keep believing, that's a seed planted. Every time you forgive instead of fight, that's growth. Every time you speak life over your situation, that's heaven taking note. And sooner or later, all those seeds of faith bloom. So tonight, as you close your eyes, don't let the noise of doubt steal your peace. Instead, remind yourself something's shifting, something's aligning, something's on its way. And you don't have to see it to believe it. You just have to trust that the same God who got you through yesterday is already standing in your tomorrow, waiting with your blessing in his hands. He's not finished. He's not forgotten. He's not late. You are right where you need to be. When God is about to bless you, it won't make sense at first. It will feel like confusion before clarity, loss before gain, silence before sound. But then it hits. Suddenly, things start to fall into place so perfectly you'll realize it wasn't sudden at all. It was strategic. Every delay, every disappointment, every detour was leading here. And when it arrives, when that blessing breaks through, you'll look back and say, now I see why it had to happen this way. You'll understand that the waiting wasn't wasted. The pain wasn't pointless. It was all preparation. Because before God gives you the blessing, He builds the version of you that can carry it. And that's exactly what He's been doing. Quietly, faithfully, perfectly. So don't lose heart now. Don't mistake the storm for a setback. You're in the final stretch before the blessing. You've been planted, not buried. You've been refined, not rejected. You've been prepared, not punished. And soon the blessing will reveal what the breaking was for. So breathe, beloved. Keep the faith. Hold your peace. The God who promised is still faithful. The blessing is already in motion. And the signs, those subtle divine whispers, are already all around you. When everything starts to shift, when life feels uncertain, when you feel the pressure rising, don't run. That's not the end. That's the sign. Because when God is about to bless you, you'll know. Not with your eyes, but with your spirit. Not with proof, but with peace. Not with comfort, but with conviction. And when it comes, it will be bigger, brighter, and more beautiful than anything you ever imagined. Because that's how God blesses. Exceedingly, abundantly, above all you could ask or think. So keep the faith, keep the fire, keep walking. Your blessing is closer than you think.